Hello, this is Igoro, host of the Igoro Show, and you are listening to the Steve and Crypto Show. So keep your ears open and your mouth shut.
Hey, welcome to the Steve and Crypto Show presented by thestevestrout.com. I'm Steve.
I'm Crypto Zoo. We are keeping the Halloween spirit alive on 155. And thank you guys for tuning in as always, whether it's your first episode or you've been listening since day one. We appreciate you guys.
It's our Halloween special.
That's right. We have a lot in store for you. We got a lot of interviews and we got a lot of music. So we're not going to yak too long. But as always, we got to get through some of the things that kind of help keep this show going, like Patreon. Go to patreon.com/SteveCrypto. You can go check out a wide variety of material waiting over there for you. A bunch of different things, from concert reviews to movie spoilers, board game talk, all kinds of different things. So again, go to patreon.com/SteveCrypto. Go check out everything that there is to offer. You can contribute as little as $1 a month. And if you want to buy us a coffee, that always helps out the show as well. Go to buymeacoffee.com/SteveCrypto. And be sure to follow us on social media at CryptoZoo88 at the Steve Strout. We also have a Facebook group that we encourage you to join. Show us what you're working on. Or if you just want to check out what other people are working on, join the group and keep up with other people's projects from all over the world. We have about 1,000 members in there from all different places, and we thank them for joining.
10 million members now, 10 million strong,
millions and millions, and we thank you for joining as well. So yeah, go check out the Facebook, and be sure to check out our friends at Goth Cloth, which are a women-owned, environmentally conscious company. They make a variety of t-shirts and there's coffee mugs, and there's an assortment of things over there that pertain to the gothic lifestyle. So if you go to gothcloth.com, you can check out everything that they have, and follow them on Instagram, and go find Goth Cloth on Instagram.
Best place to find them. They post a lot of pictures and stuff of their awesome merch and all the cool spooky goth horror themed stuff they got there. So, and I mean, if you dig in our social media accounts, you might catch us showing off some of our goodies that we have from Goth Cloth.
That's right.
So do that. But we're gonna kick this episode right off. We said we got a lot to do. We don't want to blab too much because we got so much going on. We're gonna start this off with some spooky theme music. We're going to run a song right now, and then when we get back, we're going to tell you what else we got going on this episode, and we're going to get down to it. So, say we play a song by a surf rock band called the Rumtones that we kind of teased you guys with recently, but we have another song from them called Marked by Shadows. So check it out and support them at therumtones.bandcamp.com. Check it out.
And we're back. Hope you guys enjoyed that song by the Rum Tones. And maybe you guys were listening to that while you're dancing in your living room or while you were making Halloween cookies or something.
Carving pumpkin.
Yeah, carving your
Perfect pumpkin
pumpkin.
carving music. Yeah.
We hope you guys are enjoying the show in general, but maybe you're listening while you're doing something festive, and that might be a fun way to enjoy this show
Or
even
naughty.
further.
I don't know. I like to think that people are listening to us doing naughty stuff, but that's
Like
that's
carving
just
pumpkins.
carving
Yeah,
pumpkins.
yeah,
There you
that's
go,
what you meant,
just like
right?
that. But
Yeah.
we got a lot of shit going on this episode, so we're not gonna ramble too much. You guys are gonna be spared our dumb jokes, and well, besides the one we've already slipped in so far, we're gonna spare you that nonsense. We're gonna get right down to business. We're gonna get right down to spooky stuff. And we're gonna kick off with Anastasia Elfman from the famous Elfman family. They're super talented. They're great people. She came on to kind of give us a history lesson. One, she's promoting something really cool that pertains to her history lesson about the legendary Lon Chaney. So she's like a fountain of knowledge about him. So let's just dive right in. We met her briefly prior on the show, but we're going to get a little deeper into her career and what she has going on. So, Anastasia Elfman, meet her, check it out, enjoy, and we'll be back. Hey, Steve and crypto listeners. We are in the midst of Halloween season, my favorite time of the year, probably most of you listeners' favorite time of year. And I feel like my guest in this segment is probably pretty fond of it too, based on her obsessions and her creative output and stuff. So we had her on recently with her husband to promote a film that they were touring. They're still touring. I'm going to ask her about it in a moment. But we have Anastasia Elfman. She came on with her husband Richard last time to promote Bloody Bridget, which is fantastic. If it comes anywhere near you, please, I urge you to go out and see it. This movie is, excuse my language, fucking entertaining as it gets. You guys will dig it. But Anna, if that's okay if I call you that, thanks for coming back.
Sure, thank you. Thanks for having me. Wow.
Absolutely. So, what is the latest on Bloody Bridget?
Oh, thanks for asking. The latest on Bloody Bridget, well, she's still going on a Rampant and Wild Film Festival tour. We just played in, I think it was New Jersey, and I think we're coming back next month to do another screening at a different festival. So she's still making her way and taking over all the horror festivals. Um, what else? I mean, we're talking with distributors. There's a lot of interest in making Bloody Bridget into like an adult animated series. I've got some fun other like Bloody Bridget projects coming up. Talks of like a comic book for her. So I'm very, very excited. And I think she has so much more to tell and more bad guys to get, or bad gals, anybody. Whoever is bad, just watch out. She's coming.
Watch out, bad people. Yeah, I love it. I can't wait till more people get to see it. It needs to be seen. We'll definitely be watching. Please keep us posted on the comic book and the animated stuff. Like, you're always welcome to come back and tell us about it. Last time we had you on, it was a quick, brief promo thing because you were screening here in our area in Seattle, but we didn't really have time to get into you and your career. So, how did you personally get into show business, and who were some of your inspirations to get started?
Wow, what a big question. How did I get into showbiz? Well, I had kind of a weird upbringing. I did ballet since I was 3 years old and grew up in the theater. So I was like a constant performer growing up. My parents were kind of they're like former Marines who kind of turned hippie once they got around to me. And so I wasn't allowed to play video games. And instead, I had like this great exposure to like classic films. and great horror films. And so I grew up on all of the classics. And what else? I don't know. I just kind of injured myself in ballet, and so the going professional wasn't really an option. So I kind of went into horror and effects, and I worked at a few different effects places and did it professionally for like almost a decade or so. And while doing studying acting and things like that at a really great and big studio called Stella Adler, which is like a major place to study. So I did that while I was doing like practical effects makeup and costuming and set design and all of that kind of stuff. And then just focused more on acting, like in front of the camera. And now I'm writing my first film, and I'm planning on directing that sometime probably next year. A fun horror.
Is it horror, you said?
Yeah, a fun horror film I'm creating.
Well, it's kind of a good way to set yourself up to direct and make your first film by you kind of immerse yourself in just like every aspect of filmmaking. So you kind of got to feel and know like what limitations and everything you do and don't have to make your own film.
Yeah, completely. I mean, I find the best directors have backgrounds in some kind of creativity and can understand, how to get their vision across and how to communicate with their other artists. Because with film, it's like it's such a collaborative medium, both getting ideas and concepts from people and also kind of stifling people so that you have your vision brought forth. But I mean, I grew up as an older sister as well, so I have a lot of experience of bossing people around and directing. So it comes very naturally to me. Anyways, and I co-produce. We do a lot of my husband Richard, we do a lot of live events, kind of vaudeville-esque. And so I co-produce all of those the last like almost 14, 15 years we've been together. So we tour with our films, like his film Forbidden Zone, which is really special for his fans to get to see on the big screen and then see him perform his little song and just get to experience it the way that he envisioned and with him in the audience. So we're always happy to tour around and bring that event to people. And then with our other films like Aliens, Clowns, and Geeks, and now with Bloody Bridget, sometimes we'll do triple features depending where we are. We're always up to something silly.
It's like you've been training for this moment to make your film your whole life.
Oh, completely. Yeah, it feels like such a natural next. I don't even want to say next step because I feel like I've just been doing this consistently my whole life. Like I used to play pretend and put on plays constantly for my family. And the way that I grew up performing, it was almost like vaudeville, as a kid performer and auditions and modeling and things like that. So it's like I know nothing else. This is my only questionable talent.
Well, you're super talented and creative, so I think it'll be a success. You mentioned your parents introducing you to classic horror and stuff. Who are some of your favorites? Some of the other influences?
Well, I mean, besides Lon Chaney Sr., who are my other influences? I mean, I love his frequent collaborator, Todd Browning. I really love their work together. They're some of my favorite films, which also touch on different subjects that I love how inclusive they were, both together and separately as creators, and telling different tales and stories with like a horrific twist, which is things that I enjoy as well. Who else? I mean, to be more modern, I would say I love Carpenter. I love his The Thing that really like blew my mind when I first saw that film. I love Landis. I love Werewolf in London. I love Zemeckis. I love Death Becomes Her, Roger Rabbit. I don't know. I have so many people who inspire me.
It sounds like a lot of it leans really towards the creators that utilize like effects and stuff, which goes into your background. You could see that in your influences.
Yes.
It's publicly known. Anybody who follows you on social media or friends with you know that you is obsessed the word to use for Lon Chaney, the legend. And so what are some of your favorite performances from Lon Chaney?
Well, yes, I definitely think that saying that I'm completely obsessed with Lon Chaney Sr. is definitely a fair statement. I feel like I'm been able to like harness my insanity into something positive by um, being able to just share his genius with the world. What are my favorite films? Oh God, it's so hard to pick. Like, who's my favorite child, you know? They're also special to me and in different ways. And obviously, I'm so gutted that a majority of his work is just lost to time. And hopefully, somebody will find these films that have been lost. Maybe they're in somebody's basement or attic or in a vault somewhere misplaced. But one of my favorite ones that I know of right now, I mean, not in any order, I would say, because I love them all. I would say, of course, 1925 Phantom. Uh, like, I mean, first of all, it's like groundbreaking, everything that he has done. And to me, he's the father of horror as we know it. Here in America, he really gave us horror and just set the standards for what could be achieved. So Phantom, I love his 1927 The Unknown with Todd Browning, of course. Should I just go down the list? I don't know. Are we talking about each one a little bit, or do you want to share some of your favorite?
I'm taking this in as a history lesson from you.
Oh
'Cause
boy. Oh no.
I
Oh
know
no.
all the, I know the popular movies, but you know you're obsessed. You know Chaney way more than I do, and I'm learning from this. So
Okay.
however
So,
you wanna,
so you just want me to gush?
please do.
Okay. Okay. Because sometimes when I'm sharing these things, like the other person likes to share their favorites and we'll like combine list but I'm totally happy with just
Oh,
just gushing away.
I wanna hear your passion, and my listeners want to hear it.
Okay. So let's see. So 1927, The Unknown by Todd Browning. Such an incredible film. Actually, the Criterion Collection people, they just released a wonderful, I think it's like a Blu-ray collection package of Todd Browning's films. So they have like Freaks, The Unknown, and The Mystic. And it's just such a beautiful box set that I highly recommend. And even the little kind of like booklet inside is like pack full of really interesting information both on Chaney and Todd Browning. And obviously his other films that are in this package, but The Unknown, amazing. So going on, 1925, The Unholy Three, another Todd Browning film, incredible. Lon played a few characters in that, and you can see his like, his talent for makeup and capturing physical. He's very into pantomiming, of course, but his like physical performance, one of the characters, he's playing an old woman, and he just totally embodies that character. It's wild to watch. But so the Unholy Three, that was also remade later, and so Todd Browning wasn't attached, but Lon Chaney Sr. was, and it was the one and only talkie film that he ever did. So, which is like pretty crazy. And then I guess we'll move on to like 1925, The Monster. I don't know if you've ever seen that. Yeah, it's kind of a wacky horror comedy. They really underused Chaney, but for the little bit of screen time that he has, he's just so delicious to watch. It's just like kind of a crazy horror story, and he's like kind of a mad scientist. But really underused. But for the little bit that he is on screen, it's really wonderful. And then of course 1923's Hunchback, I'm sure you're aware of.
Oh yes, definitely that one. Yeah.
Yeah, the craziness that he put himself through, like with wearing a harness that where he couldn't stand up straight, and it was a weighted harness so he could feel, so that came across in his performance. And he actually caused some damage to his eye with the makeup. And after that, he had to wear glasses, in his, normal life.
Yeah, he really like tortured himself.
He did. I mean, it's funny because part of his history is that early before he went and came to Hollywood, he was kind of on like a vaudeville tour with like comedic opera. And so he was a dancer, choreographer, and a comedian, which is so wild. And but totally makes sense when you really watch his work, you can see the physicality. And for me as a dancer, it's like, yes, I can spot him and his like dancer moves and everything. And I thought it was also incredible because like a little bit more about his history is that both of his parents were deaf mute, and he didn't have the need to learn how to talk until he was 4 years old. So he is a very physical performer and very into pantomime with his history. And he with his films, he would sneak in these subtle gestures that like deaf people would be able to see and understand what was happening in the scene, like the sign for like hate or love, which I thought was so beautiful for him to include that, and was very inclusive, and like so ahead of his time, to like include that in a performance during like a silent film.
That is a wonderful thing that I never knew. Well, see, I'm getting the history lesson.
Yeah, if you study his films, like especially like in Hunchback, he'll do the movements for hate and love and things like that through his performance. Um, and then I guess the last one is 1920, The Penalty. I don't know if you've ever seen that, but it was a pretty wild film. I mean, kind of it's pretty different than a straight horror. um he designed a rigging, because basically the film is about this like kind of mob gangster who is like kind of seeking vengeance against a doctor who mistakenly amputated both of his legs when he was a child. So he's like going after this bad doctor. And so Chaney, as we know, he likes to totally embody a character and just take it to the next level. And so he helped design a harness where it would hide his legs and make it look like he was an amputee. Um, and so he did a bunch of damage during the filming of The Penalty, because there's a lot of scenes where he's like climbing and jumping and falling, and he's falling straight on his knees. And so he had like leg issues in his actual life after filming The Penalty. Um, but so it's not a straight on horror film, but it's definitely pretty thrilling. And then you can really see his acting range and stuff, and you get to see him for himself as well, because he's not behind all of the makeup that you would assume he would have on, if that makes sense. It's like you get to see
Yep,
him.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. I think these are definitely good to track down right now to watch during this holiday season too.
Yes, and they're all available too. I wanted to pick films that were like easily available. So I think basically all of them have Blu-ray or DVD options, as well as streaming, but I'm kind of a like physical media junkie, so I like to scoop up the physical
Oh
copies.
yeah. Especially you mentioned the Criterion stuff. They put out amazing stuff. They're the depth they go into with like the booklets and just all the special features and editions. Like they really honored these films.
Yes, yes, exactly. Exactly like I was saying. I was so floored by the love and thoughtfulness that they put into the recent Todd Browning uh collection, which has Lon Chaney Sr.'s The Unknown in it, which is another another film where he plays like where he has like his arms amputated. He's such a physical actor.
That collection is going on my list to pick up. You can see so much in his work and what you do. Like you're paying like the ultimate homage to him, but with your career and your creative output, and that's awesome. I love that.
His family created horror, and they should be honored. And I like to use my platform as well as like, obviously uh using it to shine a light on the art that I'm doing or that my friends are doing. It's really important to me um to expose people to like horror history, film history, and Lon Chaney Sr. is a huge part of both film history and horror history. I mean, he literally wrote the book on what could be achieved with practical makeup effects. And, he created that job. I mean, back then it was like, these silent film stars, they were each kind of doing their own makeup, and the studios would give them kind of like a cheat sheet of like what shades worked, like just the bare minimum of like how to look so that it would be able to be captured on film, the grainy film that they had back then and the black and white and everything. Because like certain colors don't show up, so they had to go into greens and things like that that wouldn't be natural. And so it was so groundbreaking and radical what Lon Chaney Sr. was doing to create these like horrific, grotesque kind of creatures um and characters, like it I mean, it sounds silly to say now, but literally nobody was doing this here in America. So he was really it was groundbreaking, everything that he was doing. And he was also a majority of the time like he would be responsible. He would do his own lights, from his history of like touring. He knew the dramatic lighting that he wanted, and a lot of times he would even direct his scenes. Like in Phantom of the Opera, he directed almost all of his scenes. I mean, that was like a very chaotic set, and a lot of the actors didn't get along with the director of Phantom. But yeah, he's uncredited, but he did direct his scenes, which is so amazing and incredible. Like the work that he had to put in to do his makeup, because he would get ready at home and then he would sneak onto set because he didn't want the press to see any of the makeup and it to be ruined, because he wanted people to experience it for the first time in the theater, which I totally get.
Yeah. Yeah.
No spoilers, right?
Right. Nope,
And
not
so he
yet.
went
Still too soon.
so he would go into like great like detail into like how to like hide it from everybody, so that he would have closed sets and things so that nobody would see it and ruin the surprise. Um, but yeah, I don't know where I was going with that, but he's just so incredible.
That's exactly where you're going. Just to be making that exact point that he was incredible and inspired so many people and created horror, basically horror as we know it today. Without Cheney, there would be what would we have?
I don't know. It would be a sad time for sure for me. But yeah, so like basically I guess the end of that thought was that there were no unions back then. There wasn't a makeup artist like title. It was like the actors were doing this for themselves, and then eventually we would get the unions and we would get those jobs. But isn't that wild to think of? Like he was literally creating everything like that we still use today. That's how wild it is to me. That like, yes, we've evolved as a society and different things like that. But if you think about it, like in practical effects makeup, they're still using techniques and things that Lon Chaney Sr. created. It blows my mind.
100 years, like that's amazing. There's really like no word when you think about it. Like, how is this one person responsible for this much?
Oh,
Amazing.
yeah, completely. I mean, for me, it's like I always say, it would be it would have been enough to like make him a legend for eternity just based off of his like acting chops alone. Because if you take away the makeup, it's like obviously his acting is so nuanced and so incredible. Like if they had Oscars, he would be winning everything all the time. Like it's just
Yeah.
he's such an incredible nuanced actor who takes it seriously. But then you put on that you add to it that he's like literally inventing makeup effects. It's so radical. And that's why I love to share his history and share his importance to to film history and horror history because it's like I feel like not enough people I'm still talking to creators usually a lot older than myself that know nothing about Lon Chaney Sr. And it's like that's my goal is to make sure everybody knows how incredible he is and how important he is to cinema, just as a whole. Forget horror, just as a whole,
Just
he's
in
so
general. Yeah,
important. Yeah.
exactly. Exactly. He revolutionized it, the whole industry. That being said, I know you're getting close on time here, but I have one more question. Since it is the Halloween season, what do the Elfmans do to celebrate? Do you decorate the whole house up and the property, or do you have parties, or how do you get into it?
Ooh, fun. Yes. Well, okay, so here's the thing. I believe that Halloween is kind of a lifestyle. So it's Halloween 24/7 over at the Elfman residence. We're always watching horror movies and up to silly, goofy horror centric things. Yes, we like to decorate a little bit, but Richard and I live in a wonderful 100-year-old property in the Hollywood Hills. And so there's not many trick-or-treaters, so it's kind of all for nothing. So we'll take our daughter to different fun places to trick-or-treat. We don't really, because this is like our busy time of year because, we're both into horror. So we don't do a Halloween party per se, but um, so my brother-in-law, Danny Elfman, he likes to do um these wonderful concerts, live shows. And so he has a wonderful show coming up on November 2nd over at the Hollywood Bowl, which is right down the street for us. And it's a career spanning concert. So it's important film scores. It's his Oingo Boingo. He's playing Oingo Boingo songs, which is so radical to me and so special. And then playing music from his newer album, Big Mess, and he has like a track or so, maybe more, from a newer album that he's going to be releasing pretty soon. I'm told. So that's a wonderful experience. And if you're a fan of Danny Elfman, Oingo Boingo, his film scores like with Tim Burton and stuff, I highly recommend going. For me, it's always such a radical soul changing experience as a creator to watch him perform live and just the insane love that he puts into the event from the performers. He has a full orchestra and his uh bandmate from Oingo Boingo, Steve Bartek, he's there. He's conducting the orchestra, which is very special for major fans. Um, and then even just the artwork that's put on the screen and the light effects. I mean, there's just everything is so incredible and it's like a feast for the whole soul, if that makes sense. So that's November 2nd at the Hollywood Bowl. And then on the next night, November 3rd, he's going out to San Francisco to do the same show. So that's pretty wild. And I don't know how he's gonna do it because there's so many people. It's like 100 people, you know, for the
Band and
show.
crew, and yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
a whole production. Like
It's
I've never been able to
gigantic.
I've never made his show. Someday I want to make one of his shows. Um, he I've seen, clips and videos, and it's just like huge. It's just so much in it. Like I don't know if I did a if I were to do a show like that, I would need like a couple weeks off before I did anything else. I couldn't do it the next night. Like that's impressive.
Yeah,
But he's
he's
impressive. Yeah.
he's such an incredible performer and creator, and we owe so much to him that he's willing to share his genius with us. I mean, it's so special to see him perform live, and just thinking about all the incredible iconic themes and songs and scores that he's created. Like literally, when you think about Batman, when you're not thinking about like, the 60s version, you're thinking about his theme for Batman, and Spider-Man and The Simpsons and Pee-wee, and like it's too much. Like how does he do it?
I don't know how many times like the Pee-wee's Big Adventure theme song will just pop in my head randomly and just live there for hours. Like it's
Right?
iconic stuff. It's
It's so
brilliant.
good. I know. He's like one of our living geniuses. I can't even fathom the work that he's created. Like just even coming up with one single, like he could have done The Simpsons and been done. But no, he's got like freaking Mars Attacks, Edward Scissorhands. Like think about all of these incredible scores for me, like literally scored my life. Like
Yeah.
it's beyond, like my head explodes when I think about it too much, and I have to be really careful because he's family, and so I don't want to gush, so I end up being very quiet.
Yeah. I think the wildest thing I've heard about his whole film scoring career is like he didn't even want to do his first film score. He had to be like arm twisted to do it, and then he did it, and it was just like boom, just took off.
Oh, are you talking about
And here we
Forbidden
are.
Zone?
Was it? Did he score that, or is it? I thought
Yeah.
Richard scored that.
No, no, no.
No,
No,
no.
no. He
I guess
Dan
maybe it was Pee Wee. Maybe it was Pee Wee. They kind of had to kind of nudge him to do it, and then he did it, and it's history from there.
Yeah, I mean, people get it confused a little bit, but Forbidden Zone, so my husband's film Forbidden Zone was Danny's first score. And so Forbidden Zone came about because my husband had like this theatrical troupe called the Mystic Knights of the Oingo Boingo, and they were kind of nearing the end. It was like this big, huge troupe that would travel around and do wonderful performances. And so it was kind of, he explains it like that they were kind of morphing from like a huge troupe to more of like a new wave band. And so my husband Richard wanted to capture the theatrical performances that they would do on film. And so he kind of expanded on that thought. And then that's how we got the film The Forbidden Zone. And so Danny plays Satan in that, and he also scored the film. But that was all because Rick told him to score it. And Rick kind of got him into that music. I mean, so I believe when Danny left like graduated high school, he went on like kind of a solo trip around Africa, and at that point Ricky was in France doing his theatrical troupe um performances and stuff, and then Danny kind of met him there, and they needed, I guess Danny was a violinist and they needed a violin player, and so Ricky kind of pushed him into that, and then he's became a member and stuff, and then the rest is history. But yeah, his first score was definitely Forbidden Zone, and then I think it was Pee-wee, but that was after, like many years after, once he had Oingo Boingo. And then Paul Rubens, Pee-wee was a fan of Richard's The Mystic Knights of the Oingo Boingo, and kind of followed their stuff, and then followed Danny over. Because at that point, then Ricky kind of gave the baton to Danny to take over, and so Danny turned it into Oingo Boingo because Ricky wanted to start directing like films and stuff. And so um so Paul Rubens brought like Tim Burton to some shows or whatever, and he ended up being a fan. And so that's, I guess the story is like Danny thought that Tim just wanted like an Oingo Boingo song, but no, Tim wanted him to like score the film, which is wonderful because it's such an iconic score. I love Pee-wee.
Yeah, for sure. Well, see that listeners get a double history lesson. We got a Chaney lesson and an Elfman lesson. So perfect for Halloween time. I do thank you for hanging out with us. Do you want to plug where people can follow and keep up on you and Rick's stuff on social media?
Yes, yes. And thank you for having me and giving me this platform to just gush about my favorite people and my silly projects. I truly like appreciate your kind support with this. You've been such like you've really rallied for me and my things, and I never forget when people are very kind and supportive of my art and my obsessions and stuff. So thank you. Where can people find me? I'm unfortunately on all of the social medias. I don't love it, but that's how us indie artists have to, we have to use the monster of social media to get our art out there. So I'm on Facebook under Anastasia Elfman, and on Instagram, I'm under my stage name right now, Dahlia DeMont, until I figure out how to switch it to my actual name, Anastasia Elfman. One day I'll figure it out. Um, and then I'm on TikTok as well under Anastasia Elfman. I don't know what I'm doing there, so like buckle up and be prepared. I'm on YouTube. Kind of know what I'm doing there, but really I don't. And then my husband has a website called richardelfman.com, and I'm working on my own website because I feel like as a horror centric creator, I kind of get stifled on social media because like the social media robots don't understand horror centric like phrases like, oh, that's killer, or like you murdered that. You know what I mean? So I get censored a lot, and I would rather just like have a free go with my fans. But so I'm working on an AnastasiaElfman.com where I can be more of myself and people can find like performances and communicate with me and keep up to date with all of that kind of stuff. And then our film pages, we're on Facebook and Instagram. So we've got our new horror comedy film, Bloody Bridget. We've got a sci-fi horror, kind of horror comedy called Aliens, Cons, and Geeks. And then we've got Forbidden Zone. And we're really trying to build up that community because Forbidden Zone was not lost, but it was off the market and not available for about 30 years. And so now we're trying to get the word out there to all of Richard and Danny's fans that yes, you can get a Blu-ray copy of Forbidden Zone right now. And so that's pretty radical. And you can experience these live events, and like little art theaters or bigger theaters or conventions can book us, and we are happy to tour with it. It's kind of like a road show. So just getting the word out there and all of that stuff.
Well, Anastasia, thank you again. It's always a pleasure chatting with you. Hopefully we get you back up this way with Bloody Bridget or Forbidden Zone or both, which would be cool. And hopefully we cross paths soon. Thank you again for hanging out,
Yes, thank you so much.
and happy Halloween.
You too. Happy Halloween to you and everyone out there. Get spooky and stay safe.
Hi everyone, this is author Raina Young, and I wanted to let you know about my new book, Slasher Girl 2. Slasher Girl 2 takes place right after the first book, and for those who don't know, it's a rape revenge story about a girl named Samantha who's obsessed with horror, and when the unthinkable happens to her, she creates her own outfit and goes after those who deserve it. Both books are now available on Amazon in both paperback and ebook. Check them out, and happy Halloween, and be sure to always tune in to the Steve and Crypto Show.
And we are back. And I know you've probably finished cutting the hole in that pumpkin by now, but we still have more of this episode. So hopefully you're sticking with us.
I think maybe they need another song to help them with that pumpkin carving. or whatever interesting stuff they're doing.
Whatever they're doing with that pumpkin.
Whatever they're doing with the pumpkin. Damn it, we said no more jokes. Let's play another recent artist that we played on the show. A fellow, if you see, he's all over social media right now, and he just toured, or he's just getting back from Japan, I think. His name is Isaac Rother, and his group, The Phantoms. And he had this really fun song called Like a Wolfman that we're going to run for you. And get more details on him at isaacrother.com. And always show notes, links to everything. Go check it all out after the show. So check that out, and we'll be right back to let you know what our next fun segment is on this Halloween episode.
Like a wolfman, baby. Like a wolfman, I'm gonna make you scream like you never screamed before. I'm gonna make you wild and beg for more. But I won't make you cry. Wipe those tears from your eyes. I'm gonna make you howl like the wolfman do. Like the wolfman do. Like the wolfman do. Like a wolfman, I'm gonna make you sing a song you never sung before. I'm gonna make you want it and want it more. But I won't make you cry. Wipe those tears from your eyes. I'm gonna make you howl like the wolfman do. Like the wolfman do. Like the wolfman do. Like a wolfman. Like a wolfman, I'm gonna make you ring a bell you never rung before. I'm gonna make you sound like you never sound before. But I won't make you cry. Wipe those tears from your eyes. I'm gonna make you howl like the wolfman do. Like the wolfman do. Like the wolfman do. Like a wolfman.
All right, we are back. And tomorrow, to celebrate Halloween, I'm going to wear this cool new t-shirt I got from Crypto Zoo Tees.
Really?
Your namesake.
That sounds like a
unrelated, which is
wonderful
really
idea.
weird. Maybe you guys are like long lost twins or something. I don't know.
You know, they were nice enough to send a shirt for you and for me. So I should probably piggyback on your idea and wear my shirt that I got from them as well.
Let's wear our shirts and show them off to everybody so they could see the awesome cool shit they got at Crypto Zoo Tees. And you guys should definitely go there, check them out. They got all kinds of merch, gear, decor, just anything you want to find for spooky, horror-loving personalities. Go check it out, cryptozootees.com. And rumor has it, if you use the code SteveCrypto at checkout, you'll save a little money. So go ahead and get on that.
You know, a little bat told me that same rumor. I think that's a good idea.
Freaking bats. I love Halloween.
It ate the chatting bird.
Yeah. Let's shut up and bring back a regular on our Halloween episodes every year. He's been contributing an awesome segment, trying to inspire you guys to watch some cool old classic horror and sci-fi and I say classic already, but I'm gonna say classic again. And I'll probably say it again later in this episode. I don't know. We'll see. Trying to not say too much, but we already are. So let's just let's just dive in to Lord Blood-Rah, and he's gonna tell us some good movies to watch this spooky season.
My lords and ladies, Lord Blood-Rah here, honored again to be asked to participate in Steve and Crypto's Halloween Spectacular. In years past, I've recommended the best movies to watch for Halloween and the most thrilling old-time radio episodes to listen to for Halloween. This year, let's take a deep dive into the bargain bin of horror cinema. Down where the budgets are low, the acting is laughable, and the scripts, if there are scripts, are written in a fever dream of deadline desperation. These are films to put on in the background of your Halloween party for laughs, between pumpkin ales and buffalo wings. Here is my pick for the top 5 schlock horror films to watch on Halloween. Number 5. Dungeon of Harrow from 1964. I have a soft spot in my heart for this badly flawed little gothic gem. The plot, such as it is solid. 2 men are shipwrecked on the island of a madman who dwells in an ancient castle full of dark secrets. Nothing original, but solid, suitably creepy. Reminds me of a Barbara Steele-style gothic film that just didn't cut it. But the acting. To say the acting is wooden is an insult to 2x4s.
Which leaves one last question. What of the captain?
I permitted myself to lie last night. I don't know where the captain is. It's unlikely, however, that he's been moved to another room.
Could they have killed him?
The Count has come to believe that all sailors are pirates.
But again, it is suitably creepy, and I've always thought this film should be remade with at least a moderate budget and competent actors. From 1964, Dungeon of Harrow. Number 4. The cobbled-together film-on-the-fly hot mess, The Terror, from 1963. This film is a Roger Corman miracle. Not that it's that good, but that it exists at all. The Terror stars the great Boris Karloff, who had just finished filming The Raven with Corman. Apparently, Karloff still had 4 days left on his contract, and so Corman, who could hear a dollar drop in the snow, decided to make another film. Did he have a script? Who needs a script?
My love. My love.
I am here, Victor.
I am weary, Ilsa. My soul cries out for relief.
There is but one way, Victor.
No. The holy covenants of God forbid it.
Corman shot scenes with Karloff walking through the sets of The Raven, according to an interview with Karloff while they were being demolished, looking suitably forlorn or frightened or just plain being Boris Karloff. The film was largely improvised and it shows, but it looks great. Also starring in this one is that guy actor Dick Miller and a very, very young Jack Nicholson. The Terror from 1963. And now, number 3. Grave of the Vampire from 1972. This is a solid and rather original vampire film concerning the rise of an especially evil vampire who attacks a young woman right out of the box, impregnating her with a vampire child who grows up to seek revenge on his blood-sucking father.
Lieutenant, you got a great record on the force. You could very easily be up for chief. But just let it be known that you believe that somebody got juiced with 50,000 volts and 3 years later climbs out of his grave, commits a murder and a rape, and then runs off into the sunrise like Bela Lugosi.
The acting overall holds up, especially Michael Pataki as the vampire, but somehow the low-budget feel of the film just makes it fall rather flat. Still, it is an enjoyable watch for all the requisite vampire action you'd want. Grave of the Vampire from 1972. And number 2, Daughter of Horror from 1955. I said in the intro that the films were written in a fever dream of deadline desperation. This film is, itself, a fever dream. There is no dialogue spoken by the actors on the screen, but there is some spooky narration.
Yes, I am here, the demon who possesses your soul. Wait a bit. I am coming for you.
The film follows a young woman seemingly having a mental breakdown as she walks the city at night. That's it. That's the film. It's a black and white nightmare that follows the warped logic of a nightmare. Visually striking with a very good music score, but do not look for a plot. Daughter of Horror from 1955. And number 1, The Beast of Yucca Flats from 1961. This is arguably the worst film on the list. No, scratch that. It is the worst film on the list, but it is somehow the most fun. The film stars Tor Johnson, a phrase not very often spoken, best known for his appearance in Plan 9 from Outer Space. The hulking Tor plays, believe it or not, a Russian nuclear physicist who gets caught in an atomic explosion and turns into an equally hulking monster that prowls the desert. The film's budget was so low that it was not shot with sound. The entire film is overdubbed, and it's overdubbed with truly demented Ed Woodian flair.
Flag on the moon. How did it get there? Secret data. Pictures of the moon. Secret data. Never before outside the Kremlin. Man's first rocket to the moon.
This is stinky hard cheese for the schlock connoisseur, The Beast of Yucca Flats from 1961. Well, there you have it, the top 5 schlock films to watch on Halloween. Please check them out, and also check out my TV series, Lord Blood-Rah's Nerve-Wrackin' Theater, presenting the best, worst, and wildest horror and science fiction films ever made. It can be found on YouTube along with my podcast, Lord Blood-Rah's Nerve-Wrackin' Auditorium, which features classic episodes of old-time radio horror. All this and more can be found on my website, lordbloodrah.com. I want to thank Steve and Crypto for allowing me to play in their domain, and thank you for listening. As always, I am Lord Blood-Rah saying, have a very happy Halloween, and geek out.
I'm Mr. Lobo of Cinema Insomnia, and you're listening to the Steve and Crypto Show. Or are you?
And we are back. Thanks to Lord Blood-Rah for coming on the show once again and giving all of you listeners a few examples of some good things to keep the festivities going for the rest of the year. Or for the rest of the year. I mean the rest of the month. But we celebrate all year long. We celebrate all year around here, and
Classic
you know this.
horror forever.
I mean, I'm sad right now. There's only 8 days left of October. Halloween is cool, but it's that the next day all the stores are immediately switching over to Christmas, and I mean they're already doing it.
You know what's the sad part is, by the time people hear this, there's going to be less than 8 days.
Yeah.
So Yeah. Hate to be the bearer of bad news, folks.
Sorry to make all you guys cry.
But let's cheer them up with more music. How's that sound?
That sounds wonderful. Can you cheer me up with like more days in the month of October? How about that song?
We're going to play another band that we played recently called Monster A Go-Go. They're like a horror punk band. And they sent us a song called Nightmare Touch. That sounds kind of nutty, too.
It does.
That's what you're doing with that pumpkin, ain't you? But anyways, check out Monster A Go-Go, monsteragogo.bandcamp.com. Support them and all these awesome artists who sent us fun music, like perfect for spooky season, which never ends. I think we've came to that conclusion that fucking Halloween don't end.
Yeah.
And neither does the awesome music, so let's let it rip. Hey, I hope you guys are having as good a time as we are with this episode. We're going to get right back into our guests. We have a friend from here in the Northwest, a buddy from the convention scene, shows like Crypticon and stuff. We'll touch on it in the interview. But we have Ronnie Angel. He's a guy who started as a pro wrestler. Now he's acting and about to direct his first feature film. So, meet Ronnie, his old friend. Glad I finally got to sit down and chat with him and get him on the show. Meet Ronnie Angel, and we will be back with more of the Steve and Crypto Show Halloween special. All right, hey, Steve and Crypto listeners. I hope you guys are enjoying the Halloween episode. I have a special guest popping in. He's a guy that I've been acquainted with for a long time. for years through like Crypticon and here in the Northwest, and we've never really sat down and had a conversation, which is kind of weird. But we've
That's true.
crossed paths a million times, and we have a million mutual friends, but now here we are finally. His name is Ronnie Angel. He has a history. He was a pro wrestler. He's a writer. He's an actor, and now he's getting ready to direct his first film, and he's going to tell us about it, and you guys are going to love it. So let's jump right in. Ronnie, thanks for finally connecting and doing this.
Hey man, thanks for having me on there. I'm really excited to finally do this. Like what you said, God, we've known each other forever, and I'm like, wait a minute, how have I never been on the show before?
Stuff gets crazy, you know?
Oh yeah.
Tell people about some of the stuff you've done up to this point.
Woo. Which one should I start on?
The short but interesting story.
Okay. Well, I started doing pro wrestling back in 2004, and my name kind of got around there as Ronnie Angel. And then I started doing some writing, like working for websites, doing movie reviews, things like that. And I was like, well, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna keep the Ronnie Angel name at least so people can connect it. So, and then that's how I got the job at Crypticon, the big Seattle horror convention that's been looming over Seattle since, good God,
years,
was it
right?
like 2009, I think, is when they started?
I think this was the 15th year.
Yeah, and it's wild. But yeah, I worked with Crypticon for about 5 years as the announcer there, and then ended up moving down to LA and ended up I still don't know how the hell it happened, but I've got 3 books to my name now. And I've also been acting since I got here in LA, and I've done, I would say, roughly like 50 or 60 movies since I first got here in 2018. So it's a little bit about my past. And
so you're probably rich now, right?
Oh yeah, because that's
only,
how
right?
everybody.
If only.
That's how everybody is down here. We all live on those hilltop mansions, right?
Yeah, it's the dream. That's why everybody goes there, right?
That's right. Ghetto in Hollywood. No, there's no such thing. We all have pools filled with whatever the hell we want, vodka and Jello shots.
Yours isn't full of like gold, like Scrooge McDuck or anything yet.
Yeah. Tell you what, that's actually kind of painful.
That does sound awful. And I mean, you've probably bumped on some surfaces that made you glad that you're not him.
Oh, yeah. Thankfully, over the years, I've reached a point in the wrestling where I can just say no.
That's good. That's good.
Did that last time I was in BC. Showed up, and the other guys were just like, I literally walked in the building and they're like, hey man, good to finally meet you. All right, this is how the match is going to go. We're going to do these 150 moves, flips and dives and everything. It's going to be so cool. I'm just like sitting there holding my suitcase like, guys, I literally just got here.
No, going back home.
Yeah. Wrestling's a wild world, man.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I'm nearing the end of the wrestling thing, and I'm going all in on the movie stuff.
Nice. And I mean, that's a good segue into directing your own film.
Yes. Man, I wrote this screenplay. I was just looking at it earlier. I wrote it over 2 years ago, which is crazy to think about. But I've known people that have been holding on to a screenplay for years and years and years, and nothing ever gets made of it. And we were supposed to film it last year, but the house that we were going to be using ended up, I don't know, some weird act of God, I guess, that it just ended up getting flooded, and the damage was so bad that they had to move. So it was like, well, I guess it's just not in the cards for us this year. So we got back together this year and talked about it, and we finally figured we might as well go for it this year. So that's where we're at right now. We're hoping to start filming in November, and then we have the Indiegogo campaign going on right now, trying to raise as much funds as possible so we could get the most out of it and fit the most cool stuff into this movie that we possibly can.
So, tell us a little about the movie that you're willing to share at this point.
Sure. It's called After Midnight. And it's funny because I was looking through it. The basic synopsis that I could give you about it is that, it's two college friends, they've known each other a long time. One of them decides to visit his buddy over the holidays, and the other friend who ended up staying in town, I based it off of me and a lot of the stories that I have from when I was doing campus security, when I was going through college myself. And man, I just had the run of the place at night. Like I found so much crazy stuff. Like there's a tunnel under the library. What? Like, and I found stuff that scared the crap out of me too. Being there alone on graveyard shift, and there's not a single person on campus. So I kind of use that as a basis that he finds a very scary book in this tunnel underneath the basement. It's well hidden, and he finds this game or ritual or whatever you want to call it in this book and translates it from German and figures, well, I'm not going to do this on my own. So I'm going to, when my buddy's coming back to town, hey, let's try this thing. And it's basically a story that I heard that's called a Midnight Man. I heard it years ago, and I was just thinking, wow, there's so many things you could do with this idea. And I just started writing it. And it's what Stephen King says, write what scares you. So I was just thinking, all right, what all can I fit in here that would scare me? And I just started piling it in there, like as much as possible. And I really want to bring the fear back to horror movies, because I see a lot of them nowadays, and that's missing. Like a lot of them, the majority actually try to be like goofy, like parodies almost. And then there's other ones where you watch them and it's just kind of like, eh. But I want to go back to what makes a scary movie actually scary. And that's what I'm hoping to do with this movie, After Midnight. And there's a lot to it, and that's basically the gist of it, though. That yeah, I'm hoping that I get this out there and hoping that it could legitimately scare the crap out of some people, which has been missing.
It has,
Yeah.
it has, because you say they try to do like the campy stuff or just shocking stuff, but
Yeah.
nothing is really like just scary, like touch you scary. You think
Yeah.
like the first time seeing Exorcist when we were little kids, that's scary.
Yeah.
But like now it's like nothing's. You're just like
Yeah.
having
And
fun. It's fun now.
yeah, and what you were saying too about shocking, like I, God, that when I worked at Crypticon, I had people coming up to me all the time. They're like, "Oh man, you should watch this movie. It's so extreme." And I'm just like, I'm just gonna stop you right there. I don't want to watch it. If it's gonna be like more power to him. And it's great to see an indie film gain that much traction. But with the Terrifier series, it seems like that's what they're going off of, is just the ability to see how far can we take it in terms of just nauseating gore. Yeah. And then like I was saying, being on the indie scene down here, I see a lot of movies and I'm just like, they're either to that point where they're trying to be extreme, or to the other side of the spectrum where they're trying to be just as goofy and stupid as possible, like on the lines of like a Sharknado, pretty much.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
So yeah, that's kind of what I'm going off of. I want to do something. I want to bring it back to the horror world.
Yeah. Something that's taken seriously.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
That's a good way to look at it. You just want to be not taking away anything from, the gory stuff, the campy stuff. I love all of it, but
oh yeah, more power to
really,
them.
I need it. That stuff, you're gonna forget it. You're gonna watch it,
Mhm.
and by next week, you're gonna forget it and move on to the next thing. You want something that's gonna stick with you, like an example, Exorcist. That's stuck with us for years.
Oh yeah.
Jaws. That's stuck with us for years because it was scary.
Oh yeah. With Jaws, I hear people be like, oh, I don't know if it's a horror movie, but it's like,
Are
what
you
other
scared to go to the
movie?
beach? Yes, because that's horror.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Do you think about it when you go in a lake? Yes.
Mhm.
A river? Yes. A swimming
Yep.
pool? Yeah.
Pretty much. Pretty much.
That's
The
horror,
one that
man.
touches you. Yeah, I love it.
Yep.
I love it. But yeah, man, that's exciting that you're finally gonna make this happen. Are you gonna
Yes.
act in it? You're just gonna straight just direct it and
You know what? I have been talking with the director of photography and going back and forth on it. I hired the perfect person to play one of the roles in it. Um, he just went all out. And when he sent me his audition tape, I was looking at it and he's playing both of the main characters against each other, like with props and costume changes and everything. And I was just blown away. I'm like, that's our guy. And then there's the actual monster, the actual demon or whatever you want to call it. Um, I was on a movie set, Clown Motel Part 3, and I met this actor on it who's legitimately about 7 feet tall, very, like creepy features in general. And again, I'm like, that's my guy right there. So both of them are in. And then there's the other role and the main one actually. And I started thinking, I was talking to a lot of friends down here in the horror world, and they're like, you based it off of yourself.
yeah.
Why aren't you playing this role?
Yeah, that's a good point. Like
Yeah,
it's your affairs, you should show your genuine emotion in there, which
yeah,
makes it seem
exactly.
right. Yeah.
So, yeah, I was talking with my director of photography, and it's like, would you be comfortable, doing more in this movie along the lines of directing? And he said he's all for it. And like this guy, I hired him because I went over. I was like, what can you do in terms of like low lighting, like pitch black, darkness, supposedly only candlelight, and that's a big part of the story right there. Is that the whole movie is pretty much dimly lit and in a dark house, candlelight, and that was one of the best parts about the movie. I thought is that basically they could only do this thing with candlelight, and if any lights are turned on, that's the end of it. That's the end of the game. So it seems pretty simple, right? But then they start to realize that there is no way out. And I have a lot of stuff written into it. Like there's one scene where you could see behind one of the characters like street lights burning out. Like street light, porch light, street light, porch light, going all down the street. And then it's like, okay, all those lights burn out, and maybe it's a power outage. I don't know. Was there supposed to be like an eclipse tonight? Because now the moon's blacked out. And then you see like all the city lights burn out, and you start to realize that like these guys are in big trouble, because it constantly throughout this thing, like they'll have a way out and then boom, no more way out. Okay, well, we could do this. We could save ourselves this way. Nope. Boom. That one goes too. So I keep it moving at a fast pace. And like what I was saying about this assistant director of mine, like I was saying, how can we do things like this? And he's saying, oh yeah, this is, you know, what I could do with this lens and this light, and I can narrow it down, or I can make it bigger, or I could put like these blue lights down here, and was showing me how they work, and I was just blown away. And I'm like, you really know your stuff.
And like he
So,
knew,
yeah,
it sounded like he knew exactly what you wanted too. So it's like, it's perfect.
exactly. And I said, how do you create like storm effects, you know, without CGI? And he said, oh, here, let me show you. And he put like a filter over it, and he had like shutters, and he could pull back on it. And I'm just like, you're hired. 100%. You got the job.
Heck yeah.
So,
I like it.
yeah. So I'm really excited about it because we have a very good crew together. We have very good actors involved in it. And that's why I'm 100% confident that given the right budget and what we could do with it, that this thing is going to be something big. I know that for a fact. And because, I mean, God, man, I wrote a book about horror movies, you know, actually 2 books, the Slash Dreams books. And God, man, for somebody who reviewed, what's it, over 500 movies, you know, I know what I want to see in a horror movie as a horror fan.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm going off of, and I'm, like I said, I'm very confident in this movie.
Yeah, I think you're definitely onto something. So what's kind of a number you're hoping to hit with the crowdfunding that you feel like will comfortably make this your vision?
Yeah, it is.
I don't know
It's
if to talk money, but yeah.
Oh yeah. No,
There's usually
by all
goals.
means. It's funny because looking at this movie as a whole, I'm like, okay, it's mainly one location, 3 actors, and basically a skeleton crew of people. Like I don't need a lot of people on board. That everybody's very competent in what they do. So it could be a skeleton crew. So I know that it could get made cheaply. And right now, I'd put it at 50,000 on Indiegogo. Just as that would be like a comfortable number that we could do a lot with. But with what I was saying about, you know, like the location and the skeleton crew, it can be made for less. It really can be. So I would love to get to 50,000 or more, but even below that, we could still make this thing and make it really effective too.
Were you setting up any perks or anything for contributors? I mean, it's
Yes.
already launched, but I haven't had a chance to look yet. So,
Oh yeah, definitely. Like some of them are, your standard perks like Blu-rays, DVDs, like crew shirts, signed scripts, things like that. I'm probably gonna add a few more in there as well. Like some of the books. I could always put those in there easily. And then there's different ones too. Like I've seen a lot of places do that, like have producing credits, special thanks in the movie. I've seen a lot of them where they offer acting roles. And I'm like, well, this is, like I said, only 3 actors. So there wouldn't be any acting roles. But then I thought of something else. I'm like, oh, we could do this a different way and have if you go for a certain perk, that you could be written into the movie just as part of the dialogue, and then we could do a lot with that. Like
yeah,
you could be written in, have maybe picture of you as well. There's a lot that we could do with that. So I've got like a lot of very cool perks for the movie, and especially some cool combinations.
You mentioned the books a couple times. If I could say the word books, even better.
Yes.
They're still available. Where can people find them?
Yeah, they're on Amazon right now, and it's of course under Ronnie Angel, and the first one is Slash Dreams: The Ultimate Guide to Slasher Films, and I recently went through and I redid the book, which that took up a lot of time. Like me and my designer and editor went through this thing like page by page by page. It is let's see. I'm holding it right now. How many pages is this thing? 540 pages. So that's a lot to go through. And it wasn't cheap either, but I did have the Indiegogo campaign, which helped out a lot. And I'm looking through it and like, man, any flaws were taken out. We went through so much with this book, and I am very, very happy with how it turned out. And then there's also the sequel, Slash Dreams Part 2, which is again a guide to a lot of the more obscure slasher films, but that one kind of changes gears a little bit, and there's interviews with over 50 horror actors and directors and people behind the scenes, and there's just so much cool information that I got from all of those interviews. Like I had so much fun working on those books, especially with the interviews. And then the third book, which came out a couple of years ago, Death in the Family, that's completely different, and it's semi autobiographical, and it's basically about growing up in the funeral business, which I was born into the funeral business, and it's what was that? Sorry.
See, I didn't know that. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Field to grow up in.
Oh yeah. The majority of the book is told by my dad, and man, I remember being a kid, and I would like to go on these like long trips with him. Like, hey, I gotta pick up a body in Idaho. Okay, cool. I'll ride along with you. And he would just like sit and tell me these crazy stories from working in the funeral business. And this is from me as a little kid up until now. And then I figured, wow, that would actually make a really good book. So that's what I did. I would hit the record button and just drive around with him for hours while he told me these crazy stories. And then I was like, well, I'll take it a step further and I'll interview my mom and my brothers, and because we all have been living around this business for decades now.
Like
And
everybody was probably affected differently, so it's like kind of probably interesting to
yeah,
hear different perspectives. And
yeah, exactly. So it is interesting, like, man, just looking through this book, and there's different parts about like what it's like when death hits your family, how you don't think about it, when you're living in the funeral business until it hits you. So it was like this weird disconnect. And then like just a lot of general ones, like what's one? What's one I could think of that sticks out? Oh, if your viewers would look that up, it's called the Cowden family. And it was a family that they still haven't figured out who did it, but a family disappeared in Oregon back in the 70s. Like they're camping. Everything was left there. Their campsite was untouched. And like the mom's purse was there, everything. They just vanished. And it's like the mom and the dad, two kids, and come to find out they found their bodies like a couple of years later out in the woods. Um, but my parents were camping in that exact same area just a couple days before this family disappeared. And they were saying that they left because they felt very uncomfortable because somebody was watching them from the other side of the river. It's like a horror movie come to life, right?
no, that's kind of eerie.
Yeah. Yeah. So like that's one of the stories in there. God, there's so many crazy stories in there. But yeah, that one was fun to write. They all
So they
were.
could just Amazon search Ronnie Angel and books,
Yep.
and they'll come up. All right,
Yeah,
that's cool.
Flash Dreams Part 1 and 2 and Death in the Family.
Well, people need to. Everybody got Prime. Use that 2-day shipping and get a hold of that book before Halloween. It's like the perfect season to read some creepy stuff.
Oh yeah, that's right.
It's
100%.
right around the corner. Do you get into the holiday yourself?
Yes, I definitely do. And the worst part about Halloween is when it's over. Because it's one of those rare occasions where like as soon as it hits midnight, it's like it's over. So
Yeah, but not to sound cliche, but it's never over. It's
yes,
always
yes.
Halloween around here. Well,
Every day is
with
Halloween.
people like us, yeah.
Oh yeah, man. We live horror and Halloween every day of the year.
Pretty much. Halloween is just an extra day. We could be a little extra that day. That's what it is.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. Um, you doing anything interesting or exciting for Halloween? Do you decorate your house? Do you?
Yeah. Yeah, we just moved into a new apartment in North Hollywood. So, yeah, it's pretty exciting having our own place again. I was living in Hollywood proper. It's a neighborhood called Los Feliz. It's like where the mansions and everything are. And I was actually renting a room from one of the actresses from My Bloody Valentine, the original.
Oh,
So,
nice, nice.
yeah, perfect for a horror fan, right? And yeah. So yeah, we get into it. We like to decorate, and I mean, God, I have horror stuff up year round though.
Yeah, I like decorate around the already decorated stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
I usually throw out a few extra things or put some on the front porch. I live in an apartment too, so it's
Yeah.
like put some stuff on the back deck, on the front porch. And
Oh,
the inside's
exactly.
already decorated, so we're good.
Yeah, same here. Like,
Yeah.
God, I got my Monster Squad poster, my Beetlejuice poster. You got all my signed posters all over the place, and it's like they're up year round.
Yep. Yep. Gotta be. Um.
Mhm.
So what was the name of the movie again?
It is called After Midnight, and we have the Indiegogo campaign going on right now, and there's links to it on my Facebook page. I use Facebook and Instagram. If you look up Ronnie Angel, and I'm usually one of the first ones to pop up.
There you go. And I'm gonna make sure we have a link to the campaign. Is there anything you want to throw out there before we get back to the evening?
Yeah, I just want to say that I hope that everybody is able to, pitch in and try to help make this movie possible, and hopefully make horror history. Hopefully that this one could be a success, and then I could get to some of the other ones that I've worked on. And like some of those are bigger budget movies, obviously from like reading into them, and this is the first step. So if this is a success, it's all up from there.
I think with you mentioned Terrifier and this and that, horror is
Yeah.
kind of on an upswing now, so I think this is the right time to bring something fresh and new and just blow people's minds. So
Oh, exactly. I
that's the plan.
Yeah. And just to tell you just a little bit of something about the next one I'd do after this, I was talking with the director of Final Destination recently, and I told him, yeah, this is kind of what I have for the next movie, and he was like, "Oh my God, that sounds like an awesome movie. That sounds amazing." I was like, "Wait a minute, this guy's the maker of Final Destination, really?" He likes hearing what I'm going to be doing. So yeah, it's exciting being down here and seeing where this could go.
Yeah, sure, for sure. And then picking people's brains kind of really helps a lot. Like, it's inspiring. Like the director of Final Destination telling you if your shit sounds good, sounds awesome. Like that's kind of like motivating and inspiring and makes you want to
Oh,
go out there and get it even more.
oh yeah, 100%. And being in the horror scene down here in Hollywood, and then you do run into people like that, and to have them on your side is just insane to think about. It's very cool. It's living the dream, man.
Pretty much. So one last thing before we go. Did you take anything from your wrestling career and apply it to the movie business? Had that
Oh,
helped you in any way with the movie
yes,
game?
yes. And it's funny because everybody that I know down here, they've gotten to the point where, something will happen, and they'll look at me and be like, okay, yeah, we know. How does this equate to the wrestling business? Because they hear it so much. Like, yeah, the movie business and the wrestling business, they go hand in hand, honestly. Um, and a lot of the things that I learned from being a wrestler is just, a lot of good etiquette, honestly, and how to promote yourself, how to get yourself out there, um, how to network yourself. It's I could say honestly that the wrestling, even though I'm getting out of it right now, it's probably my last year because it takes a toll on you. But I would say that a lot of what I've done is thanks to wrestling, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, you built the Ronnie Angel brand basically through wrestling.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's it. All right. Well, run through again your social media and stuff where people could follow you and find links to all your work and everything.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, you could find me on Facebook and Instagram under Ronnie Angel, and I'm usually the first one to pop up. And on Amazon, you can look up the Slash Dreams books or the Death in the Family book, all from Ronnie Angel. And I also have the Indiegogo campaign going on right now for After Midnight, my first film.
That's the most important one right now. Go hit the Indiegogo, pitch in something, help make this movie happen. It sounds awesome. And I'm gonna
Definitely.
pitch in, and I want to see this movie. So
Very cool, man. I'm glad to hear it.
you gotta premiere it at Crypticon. That would be cool.
I would be hoping so, actually.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
I'll be looking forward to that then.
That is a definite hope.
All right, man. Well, Ronnie Angel, thanks for hanging out, dude. Finally. And next time we'll chat more and hopefully you'll have maybe the movie will be ready by then and you can tell us a little more.
Definitely.
Looking forward to it.
Right on. Thanks
Next
for
time
having
you're
me.
up this way, hit me up.
Oh, of course. 100%, man.
Alrighty. All right. You got it, guys. Happy Halloween. Go check out Ronnie Angel's movie. I insist.
Awesome. Thank you for having me on here.
And we are back. So I hope you guys have enjoyed everything you've heard so far. We always do our best. Yeah, we really try to cram this one full. Every Halloween episode is usually packed full of more content than usual, and hope you guys are okay with that. I know some people prefer shorter podcasts. I myself don't really mind whether it's a short or a long podcast because you can always pause it and just come back to it later.
Exactly. And then when you're done, re-listen to it again.
Yeah.
These episodes are timeless, and you know what? The past Halloween episodes, go back and listen to them too. We've had awesome guests over the years. We've had Svengoolie. Who else has been on over the past few years? I think we had Doug Jones one year, Butch Patrick. There's a lot of amazing people on. But we have a couple more songs left in us. Not from us, but a couple more songs to throw in this episode. So we're going to play one now from a duo that's actually touring the Northwest here in the next couple weeks. They're called Charming Disaster. They're like a goth folk poppy duo. They're very interesting, and their music is, I dig it. I feel it. But they have a song called Be My Bride of Frankenstein that they sent in for us to play. And I think you guys are going to dig it. It's a fun song. Again, it's just the right time of year to play Be My Bride of Frankenstein. And then, of course, go to charmingdisaster.com and get those tour dates. I know they're hitting Tacoma, Seattle, Portland. They're going to be all over the place up here very soon. Like maybe even before you hear this episode. But just time travel or something. Or yeah, figure it out. But check out Charming Disaster and then go to their website and support them. Buy some music.
Be my bride of Frankenstein. Girl, I want to make you mine. I'll give you a shiny rock. Zap you with electric shock.
I got an updo with a lightning bolt. Come a little closer for 1,000 volts. I'm gonna love you though you're not so smart. Say I do and I'll give you my monster heart.
Igor and the doctor say someday, son, mind. Make me want to make her mine.
I got an updo with a lightning bolt. Come a little closer for 1,000 volts. I'm gonna love you though you're not so smart. Say I do and I'll give you my monster heart.
Fire bad, fire bad.
Put away your pitchfork, baby, don't be mad.
Fire bad, fire bad.
Show me what you're doing in the doctor's lab.
Stitch you up and set you free. Darling, won't you marry me? Promise till death do we part. But for us, that's just the start.
I got an updo with a lightning bolt. Come a little closer for 1,000 volts. I'm gonna love you though you're not so smart. Say I do and I'll give you my monster heart. Say I do and I'll give you my monster heart. Say I do and I'll give you my monster heart. Say I do and I'll give you my monster heart.
Hey ghouls, this is me, Penna Palmer, aka Gwen Gooley from MeTV's Sven Gooley. And you are listening to The Stephen Crypto Show. And don't forget to check me and the Sven Squad every Saturday night on MeTV. Shameless plug, I know.
All right, we are back. Thanks to all these amazing artists again. Before we wrap up, we always like to finish you guys off. That sounds weird. We're gonna finish you off with that.
Boy, yeah, we've been
pumpkin. Yeah,
we got a pumpkin with a hole in it, and now we're gonna finish them off.
We're doing stuff, okay? There's events and stuff. First of all,
Stuff in that pumpkin.
First I got to mention that we are proud sponsors of the Happenstance Horror Festival. It takes place on Halloween weekend, so November 2nd in Salem, Massachusetts. Like, what better place to go to a horror film festival than Salem, Mass? Like, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Track them down on social media. Links will be in the bio. You can find out how to get tickets if it's not sold out yet. But like I said, we're sponsors and we're proud to be part of that. We wish we could be there, but we are preparing for another convention and some other local shows. So
that's right.
OCE, what's up with that?
Yeah. OCE is this Saturday, so hopefully by the time you're
What's the
listening
date?
to this, well, I was gonna mention that. It's the 26th, October 26th, this Saturday. So hopefully by the time you're listening to this, you might have a little bit of time to prepare for it. It's in Silverdale, Washington, Kitsap Mall. We go from 10 to 6. Expect probably like 20, 30 vendor tables. And there's a variety of people, like original comic book artists. There's vendors of all types for Pokemon, Star Wars, Funko Pops, comic books. Very back to basics kind of a convention, like don't expect a big Comic-Con type of thing. So I've been telling everybody it's very like back to like small, classic, old school Comic-Con type of thing. Before it was like all about the celebrities. Yeah, when it was more about like just going and digging through boxes for comic books and stuff like that. So but you can expect to see like graded Pokemon cards. I mean, I collected Funko Pops for like the last 10 years off and on. And so I have a lot of older ones that I'm bringing that I didn't plan on selling. A bunch of Star Wars toys from my childhood, and of course, comic books. So come check it out if you have the time. If you can make it, we'll be there. Go through Barnes and Noble, and you'll see us right there in the mall.
It's October 26th, Silverdale, Washington, at the mall. Come down there, check it out. You'll have some Steven Crypto stickers and swag and stuff down there. So come do it. I might make an appearance. We'll see. If I do, I promise I'll sign your copy of Teddy Scare.
um, and then you can catch both of us at Grit City Comics Show November 9th in Tacoma, Washington, Tacoma Convention Center. So we will be there amongst a lot of different vendors and comic book artists, and I mean there's some pretty decent names from.
Yeah, I could run through a few real fast for you.
Yeah, go for it.
If you're not sure, we have Michael Tanner and Greg Smith, who co-wrote Junior Braves of the Apocalypse and a bunch of other stuff. Who else we got? Scrolling through real fast here. I brought it up online. Sean Dietrich, who is a great artist. I've seen his stuff around quite a bit. Shane White, who's done a lot of great indie comic work. His art, he's done some of the like posters for the show and everything. He's really talented. Pat Moriarty, who is a really pretty well-known underground comic creator.
Yeah,
did
art for Mad TV or Mad Magazine. I mean,
yeah,
Mad TV.
Mad TV.
Mad Magazine.
Mad TV. But yeah, he's gonna be there. You could go back. I don't know what episode it was, but he was on our show a while back, and really cool guy.
Yeah.
John Arcudi, who's worked on like Hellboy. Wow, so many people. James Asmus, who's worked on a Transformers comic, a Gambit comic. Just a ton of really talented. Like the Northwest has so many amazing comic artists and creators and writers and stuff, and a lot of them are going to be at this show, as well as us. We're a special guest at the show, so come hang out.
Yeah, come find our booth. Come say hi.
Come say hi. Buy some merch. We need the help. And yeah, we got some cool new things too, like coasters and magnets and all the usual stuff. So people seem to like it. They liked it a lot at the Halloween Expo. Come out, come see us, hang out. Our buddies, our freeze dry candy buddy is going to be there.
That's right, Galactic Druid Treats. We will be there with them.
Candy.
They have some really crazy, like delicious freeze dried candies. Things that you would look at, you're like, really? What? You're able to freeze dry that, and just things you wouldn't think of. And like,
if you order from him online and use Steve Crypto, the magic word, he'll give you a discount. So
that's right.
And I don't know if he'll do it at the show, but you could try.
Try the freeze dried ice cream sandwiches.
I'm partial to the Skittles still, but
yep, the Skittles were good too.
But yeah, so that's the Grit City Comic Show. I should have mentioned the date already. It's November 9th in Tacoma, Washington.
Yep.
Well, I'll mention it again. Tacoma Convention Center.
Yep. Come find us there. Come say hi.
Come hang out and let's have a good time. Hope you guys are having a good time listening to this episode. We're having a good time. Some of this stuff, like, you haven't got to hear yet. Some I haven't even heard yet. So it's kind of like we're all going to listen to this together.
That's right.
Which is kind of cool. Usually we don't do it like that, but time and everything. Like, I started a new job. You commute 87 hours a day to your job. And it's like, damn it, let's just pack this episode full of stuff so they don't have to listen to us much. And we can just make it kick ass for them. So come see us at events. Enjoy this episode. Support all these musicians that contributed to this episode. Support Lord Blood-Rah, Anastasia Elfman. If she comes to your area with her movies, go see her. She's a wild woman and she's super talented. Ronnie Angel. Support him. Support his crowdfunding for his movie he's working on. It sounds fantastic. You guys just heard that chat with him and you're going to dig it. So yeah, happy Halloween, happy spooky season.
Happy Halloween.
We're going to close this out with one more Halloween song for you guys. And it is from Nancy Nightmare and the Wizard. It's called Spooky Halloween. You guys are going to dig this one. Let's go, and we'll see you on the next episode.
All right. We will catch you guys later. Have a wonderful Halloween, and hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and play some more episodes in the car while you're trick-or-treating. We want to roll with you guys while you're out getting your candy. So, all right.
Yeah,
hope you
just want to be there when you do your thing to your pumpkin.
Yeah. Keep that to yourself.
Happy Halloween, guys.
All right. Happy Halloween. We'll catch you next time. Peace.